Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Instagram polls I did yesterday. I asked you what is something that you struggle the most with social media, and the biggest problem was definitely knowing what to post, your consistency, and then optimizing your time because content takes so much time to make. So hopefully by the end of this video or this live, you should know what should you post on social media, how do you optimize for consistency and your time in order to reach your goals and have success on this platform, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever you might choose. And feel free to ask me any questions as we roll off. I wrote down some notes, so I'll be kind of looking them down as I go. So the first thing, I don't know what to post. I don't know where to start. I don't have a clear plan. This is the Okay, poor connection. So what you're posting depends from your goal. That is kind of the first thing I ask my student. What is it that you want to achieve? What is it that you want to do? From that, it will stem what should you create? And that is very directly tied to for whom you are creating, who is your audience. And there are no two artists with the same strategy. There are no two animators with the same strategy. For example, I'll give you three examples of three different animators. One animator will have their short film, their passion projects, and they'll want to attract clients. Their content should talk about behind the scenes of their short film, and it should talk about how they solve client problems. How are they the ideal solution for a client problem? How are they the best hire? Compared to an animator who maybe wants to teach. Their content should be mostly around animation tutorials, around their personal brand as well. What's their philosophy when they're giving notes? What's it like working with them? So not just technical parts, but also that personality parts. Do they like you as a mentor? That's also important for potential students to see. And then let's say we have a third animator who is maybe a junior animator, or they have their IP in progress, in development. They should post their journey POV. So they should post the process of making something happen and build the audience that way. So as you can see, those are three different types of goals, and they will have different type of content. Where animators make the biggest mistake is that they post animation tutorials, but they want to attract clients. They post memes, but they want to promote their short film. So it doesn't make sense. And that's where you can kind of get distracted with false metrics, with views, dopamine, virality. It's very nice and it's very sweet. However, if you continue walking in the wrong direction, you're going to pull a lot of energy into something that doesn't work. And eventually you're just going to give up and figure out, well, social media is not for me. Let's switch lanes. So that would be kind of the first step, deciding what is it you want. I always ask my students their short-term goals, so 3 months, up to 3 months. What is it that you want to achieve in 3 months? And your long-term goal, like 1 to 3 years. Where do you see yourself, like the ideal, the best possible situation, the best possible outcome you want to have with posting on social media. And based on that, we determine what's the strategy and who is your audience. The next biggest thing, once you have your what, the next biggest thing, the step 2, is figuring out your formats. What are some of the best formats that are best suited for animated space? And what are some of the formats that you are going to be the best at? Because not all formats are for all creators. For example, you have simple B-roll and captions. Those are the ones that are easiest to make. So just simple B-roll, captions, and something in the description. You can make that in like 20 minutes. Then you have carousels. Then you have, I call them moving carousels. So basically it's like footage right after one footage right after the other, almost like an edit, like a montage edit, and then you write a simple story through captions. Those are really good for step-by-step tutorials, progression. So yeah, any type of short storytelling that you want to take. Then you have talking head videos, and then ultimately, like the pinnacle of content creation are scripted videos where you actually practice intentional scripting and writing your script and video from zero to end. So yeah, those are some of the popular formats online that exist, and your job is to determine which of these is the most easiest for you to make, because there are some that are low intensity and high intensity. And for someone, talking head video will be no brainer. I can shoot a talking head. You walk me in the middle of night, I can shoot a talking head video. But for some people I don't want to show my face at all. I just want a faceless format. So give me something where I can basically be more introverted and be more creative and artsy and less show myself. So that's kind of the next step, figuring out where you most comfortable are, because when you find the format where you shine the most, those are the formats that will have the biggest reach. That's the formats that you will have the biggest energy, and that's something you need to double down on. And you cannot figure out those formats if you don't have a large volume of content, if you don't try a lot of stuff, if you don't have incremental progress, if you don't post, if you don't have a lot of have a big frequency of posting. If you just post once a week, you're gonna see results in 6 months. But if you post every day, you're gonna see results in a month. So it's very important to get the data as soon as possible. Now, how do you actually do that? Because content takes so much time, and it's true. I'm not gonna lie to you. Content does take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time for you. Then it takes time for me, who is doing content for 3 years now, and I learn a lot of stuff and I optimize a lot of my processes, and it's much faster now than it was in the beginning. So you need to have systems and processes. What does that mean? You need to have an efficient B-roll system that you're going to use always, and that you're going to just have folders by categories. What is something that you need the most, and have that on your phone and on your PC, where you can plug really easily and edit on your phone, either on CapCut or Edits app, and really pool footages so you can minimize your production time, and all your time can actually go into figuring out what is the messaging I need to communicate to my ideal audience so they get hyped by my short film, so they buy my product, so they hired me. So I want you to minimize the production time, but increase the thinking time. Is that message really for my audience or not? Or am I just having fun? So efficient B-roll system, templates, Canva templates, anything that you can do to kind of make it easy on yourself for that process to be seamless. Same goes for the ideation process. My ideation process is I write ideas as they come to me on Google Keeps, and I keep them categorized. And whenever I need to sit down once a week or twice a week to make from draft to a final video, that's when I separate maybe an hour or a 2 hour, and then just finish that draft to a final. And because I have my B-roll system and templates and everything already halfway done, my content process is optimized somewhere around from 30 to 50%. So you don't have to create everything from scratch when you sit down to write, edit, and you don't have to think about, oh, what should I post today? Because you already know what should you post, which we figure out in the first step. And then the step 3, which is the ultimate step, and it's something you're going to basically learn all your life, and that is the skill of storytelling. Simply improving your storytelling, it's a skill like animation. You're gonna learn it for all your life, and I found with my students approximately between 1 and 3 months is enough time for you to have a good solid understanding what good short stories are online, and how should you tell them in your own niche. So those are basically the three main steps in order for you to have a solid social media plan for the next year to 3 years. That also answers the question of consistency. There are two main things when it comes to consistency. First thing is what I call it outer armor. So do you have the outer tools needed for you to be consistent? So do you have the systems in place? Do you have your ideation process in place? Do you know what should you post? Are the ideas coming effortlessly for you because you know all this in advance? Or are you spending 3 hours every day to brainstorm, is this good enough? Is this, I don't know, maybe this trend, I'm not sure. Maybe I should rewrite this. So those are the outer skeleton, the outer armor you need to have. It's kind of like when I hire my fitness trainer, and the outer skeleton or the outer armor is when he writes me my fitness plan and my, what should I eat? My food regime. And if he wrote that that fitness plan and food regime based on something that doesn't work for me, that doesn't take into account my physical injuries, my health condition, if he wrote down the food that I don't like eating, the system is bad. The outer skeleton is bad. It doesn't work. No matter how motivated I am or how disciplined I am, the system just doesn't work for me. So he needs to make something customizable for me in order for me to be sustainable. So that's first thing. You need to have something that helps you, not something that doesn't help you. Second part about consistency is having some accountability, having some mentor or community or a friend who is always going to check on you. Hey, how about that goal you said you wanted? Hey, how about that plan you committed a month ago? So it doesn't have to be a paid community. You can find free communities. There are many content-free communities, or find a colleague or a friend who also wants to do content and make each other content buddies, and make yourself accountable that way. Why? Because when that first phase, that honeymoon phase with content fades away, and it will fade away, you will get bored, discouraged, you won't see a meaning in it anymore, you won't see a reason why should you do it, you won't see any result, and you will want to give up. So that's when you need the accountability support for that period. And those are kind of the external factors when it comes to consistency. And then the biggest factor is actually internal armor, I call it, or your why. Why do you want to spend so much sacrifice, so much time, so much effort producing content online if you don't have a really, really strong why? And all of you who are now listening to this, you wouldn't be here if you already don't have a strong why. You wouldn't take part of your day to now listen this live and later this recording, listening to me when you could be, I don't know, watching Netflix, walking your dog, reading a book. Doesn't really matter. Something is pulling you to social media. Something is pulling you for you to show up and to show your project, to show your story, to experiment, to have fun, to risk. So something is already in you that's calling you to come out. So you already have some why. And that why doesn't have to be a 3-year super detailed plan. What do I want to achieve? But it can be like the smallest, like a 3-month plan or a month plan. Something that you want to see and try and see what are you really made of? I keep repeating that, but what are you really capable of doing? Are you just made for a 9-to-5 job, or are you made for something more? And the last question I will just answer. On my Instagram poll, there was an option Some people said that they're not sure whether that will work for them, whether posting on social media will work for me, whether having all this system in place will work for my particular niche. I'm doing a comic book, is this going to work for me? I'm having I don't know, an indie film, I'm having an indie game, I'm having XYZ, I'm special snowflake, I'm not sure if this system will work for me. And my answer to all of you is, no matter if you are in the cooking niche, or you're in the walking a dog niche, or artist niche, painting, ZBrush, animation, doesn't really matter. You all need to have content pillars, content buckets, or content teams. Different people call them differently, but you need to have some sort of structure. What the hell are you talking about that makes sense for your goal and for the audience you're serving? So again, doesn't matter what do you want to do on social media, it all stems from there. So is that going to work for you? Again, depends. Do you have a good system in place? And the other thing that's really important when you guys invest into any type of program, coaches, schools, mentorship, whatever, you need to understand that 50% of that coach needs to come from a coach, which means that they need to provide you with tools and knowledge. How do you achieve something, right? That's what you're paying for. But the other 50% is on you. Is on you. Whether are you going to implement that? Are you going to apply that? Do you care enough to apply that? Or do you want your mentor to carry the result for you? And that's really, again, the question of why. Why are you doing it? Are you really motivated and determined enough to push through the phases when it seems like it's not working? And that's what I would have to say about that. And yeah, content does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of energy. But it's also true that if you know how to optimize your time and with many incrementals, it will take a lot less time than you think. And think about it also like this. The more you post, the more you show up, the less fake you can be. The less you can have this fake persona about who you are online, and the more you can be just you. And the more you are you, the more it's going to be fun, and the better result you're going to have. So my advice for all my students and all of you listening is to post as often as possible, because it's going to be very hard for you to keep that mask on all the time. And the more you post, the more you show up, that mask is just gonna scatter, and you'll see that nobody cares anyway. People just care about themselves, and you need to really, it's kind of like I'm afraid to go to the gym because I'm afraid of building muscles. Well, it takes a lot of time and effort and knowledge to build muscles. So don't be afraid you'll build muscles, or that you'll become, I don't know, the next Gary Vee or someone if you post every day a week. And that's really it for today. And I just wanted to say that if you have any questions in terms of, okay, I hear you, Dragana, but I still don't know how will this apply for me specifically. I still have some sort of questions and unresolved issues. Book a 20-minute call, come to my call and ask me a freaking question, or just ask me on DM and I will reply to you. I really want to see more animators be more entrepreneurial and more willing to do something on their own, rather than just always relying on studios and for someone else to give them opportunity. I want more animators to feel the power they have in their own hands. That's kind of my goal for all of you. I saw some questions. It's really hard to do something creative, but it turns out it's always been hard in all ages. That's true. I made a PDF for the pitch Bible, but now listening to your live, I might turn this pitch into an Instagram account. Yes, please turn it into an Instagram account. Pitch decks, pitch decks, you already need to know the gatekeepers. You already need to know who should you send that pitch deck to. So turn that pitch deck into a series, into like original series on Instagram. Part 1, this is how we design our main character. Part 2, this is why we added 6 other characters. Part 3, this is how the story goes. So you will build a social proof, you'll build an audience, and especially if you connect Instagram and LinkedIn, more people are going to see you as someone credible, as someone who is doing something on their own instead of just asking, give me money, my project is special, this idea is unique. But no, you're actually doing something about it and making the first step your own. And the gatekeepers are going to see you as more credible, and you're going to be able to open more doors that way. Even if you, I don't know, don't get 100,000 followers or whatever you imagine of getting, but just someone seeing your struggle, you'll gain more respect in their eyes. That's kind of the whole game with pitch decks and showing your process in public of building your short film. Let me see. There was another question. I am a story writer, artist, and an animator. Cool. Yeah. Only cut the end. Why should I cut the end? Okay, story writer. Yeah, you have the biggest power, honestly, if you know how to tell stories, and animation is really just a medium. So yeah, the people who know how to tell the best stories will win on social media and with investors, gatekeepers, wherever you want to sell your idea. Knowing how to tell both a long story, but also it's harder to tell a short story than to tell a long story. So yeah, kudos to you. You should be killing it on socials. You have a lot more. You will have a lot more leverage, or it's going to be way faster for you to figure out storytelling on social media than someone who is just an animator or just, I don't know, a 3D modeler or storyboard artist. You just caught the end. It's okay. It's all good. Yeah, I'm posting all this on Instagram and my YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it there. That's really it for today. Thank you everyone for listening and for giving me feedback on my Instagram stories yesterday. I'm a story writer, comic artist, and an animator. My Insta account feels so random, but for me, I'm telling a story through art and animation. Like they are all the same, but I think the audience are confused. If you are confused, your audience is confused. I will tell you that. So again, it all depends. What do you want to use your Instagram account? If you just use it as a hobby, as something to post your art, then it's fine if you don't have any expectations. But if you have expectation and desire is actually, a wish is more important than expectation, of maybe monetizing that audience either through making your own webtoon comic or something, or teaching other storyboard artists, or teaching writing, or finding clients, then you need to figure out, okay, you can post animations, you can post your comic books, but how can you tie that so it's relevant to a potential client? So it's not just an entertainment piece. So it's not just, hey, look how funny this is, but also, hey, this is how I would solve a certain problem. Hey, I can help you with this. This is a common issue I see 2D production have. Here's how my skill set comes in and how I can help you, basically. So use your art, your animation as a tool to tell a story that will help someone basically hire you. Again, if your goal is to get hired. So yeah, thank you again everyone for listening, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye.